deltoid, pectoralis major, again back to the teres minor, major, infraspinatus. If we go down a little bit, of course we're familiar with the biceps, brachii right here, and of course there's the brachialis next to it, and then we have three heads of the triceps, triceps 3. Here's 1, 2, 3. Triceps, 1, 2, 3. Okay. If I put a tag on any one of these, you just say tricep. That's all. If you want to say triceps surae, that's fine too. We come around the other side. We see that one of the heads of the biceps inserts on this little bone that sticks out. Now, here's the clavicle. It's articulating with the acromion process, so we know the acromion process scapula is up here. So this little thing that's sticking out here must be the coracoid process. So one of the heads of the biceps inserts on the coracoid, and indeed there's a muscle right next to it that has no number, which you need to know. That's called the coracobrachialis. The coracobrachialis. So you might want to write that down. Coracobrachialis. It's inserting on the coracoid process. Coraco, C-O-R-C-O, brachialis. Coracobrachialis, along with one head of the biceps brachii, hooked onto the coracoid process. So, biceps, brachialis, tricep, 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 coracobrachialis. Latissimus dorsi, teres major, subscapularis, pectoralis major, deltoid. Life is good. We get down to the forearm and we have a little more to learn, but it's not too bad. A lot of the muscles sort of tell us what they are and you don't really have to memorize them. This movement here is called what? Flexion? That's called extension. What's that called? Hyperextension. Flexion. Extension back to the anatomical position. Past the anatomical position is hyperextension. All right, so muscles that cause flexion must be on this side. Those that cause extension have to be on the dorsum. This is the dorsum of the arm. This is the ventral aspect of the arm. So we start on the ventral aspect, and we know that in the wrist area, of course, in anatomical position, this is the radius, and the ulna is on this side. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Correct. So this side of the wrist would be the radial side. This side would be the ulnar side. So when we look at some of these muscles, they tell us what they do here. For example, this one right here, number 13, when it contracts, is going to cause flexion at the radial side. So we call this the flexor carpi radialis. It causes flexion. It's inserting at the carpus on the radial side. So flexor carpi radialis. We go to the other side. Over here, and it doesn't have a number on it. It's been worn off. This muscle over here is the flexor carpi ulnaris because it is inserting at the carpal muscles, the carpal bones rather. Those are the wrist bones. Flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor carpi radialis. And between the two, we see one inserting at the palm. We call that the palmaris longus. Here's the palmaris longus, flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris. We come around to the top over here and we see a muscle over here, and again the numbers are kind of worn off, but if you follow the tendon down, it is inserting at the carpus on the ulnar side. So this would be an extensor carpi ulnaris. There's a muscle here which has no number at all on it. You need to write that down. It's not going to be on your key there. You can see that the tendon is inserting on the pinky. We call that the digiti minimi. And so this is the extensor digiti minimi. When it contracts, it causes extension of the little pinky. Extensor digiti minimi. Right next to it, we have a big long muscle here that's inserting on the dorsal aspect of digit 2, 3, and 4. Down in the foot, we call that the extensor digitorum longus. Now this here is just called the extensor digitorum. So this muscle here, which is inserting on the dorsal aspect of digits 2, 3, and 4. When it contracts, it's going to cause extension, so we just call it the extensor digitorum. Remember, in the foot, it was the extensor digitorum longus. Here it's just the extensor digitorum. There are a couple of muscles over here on the side, and they're going to the thumb. Now the big toe is called the hallux. The thumb is called the pollex. Hallux, pollex. And so these are pollicis muscles. What do? Well, if I find, 22 here, if I follow the tendon down, it's going right to the top of my thumb. So I call this an extensor pollicis brevis.
Brevis.
And if we look at 23, it's inserting on the side of the thumb. So when it contracts, it's causing this. What is this movement called? Abduction. This is adduction. So this has to be an abductor pollicis longus. So they're going to the thumb. Thumb is the pollex. This big muscle right over here, number 20, is just the brachioradialis. Brachioradialis is 20. And then there's a little muscle over here. This is anatomical position. This movement here is called pronation. This movement is called supination. Supination is a movement in which the palm is exposed. Pronation is a movement in which the palm is facing backwards. So this is the pronator teres. It allows pronation. Pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis, palmaris, flexor carpi ulnaris, extensor carpi ulnaris, extensor digiti minimi, extensor digitorum. This is the extensor pollicis brevis, extensor abductor pollicis longus. Brachio, where am I? Oh, I forgot this one here. 18 and 19. How could I forget those? What's 18 and 19?
Extensor carpi radialis.
Extensor carpi radialis, longus, and brevis. Right? Okay. All right. Everybody has a little thing. All right, so working on the arm muscles.